Okay, so now, in case these concepts are a little bit confusing, let me give you one example so that I can make my case very clearly. Um, so this is my whiteboard that I'm sharing with you. So imagine we are doing a fracture experiment on a sample like this, and we are loading it like that. Now, when we're loading them like that, we will measure in this experiment a concept that we call fracture toughness. Now, if you don't understand that at this point, don't worry, I'll explain it to some extent in my handwritten notes. But it's just a measure of fracture, especially when you have cracks in the material. And imagine in this case, F is fracture toughness. Okay, so and imagine there is some self-healing materials in this guy that, so it could be something like that. These are some of these microcapsules, or it could be a material that has the capability to heal itself. So in the first experiment, before any of these were added to the material, so in the original virgin material, I measured the fracture toughness and I measured the fracture toughness, and because there is no healing present, I call it virgin. And let's say the value that I measure is 1, and the unit of that is megapascal square root meter. When the crack propagates, when the material is damaged, in this particular experiment, let's say I take the experiment all the way to the end, so the fracture toughness of the damaged material is 0. And then now I do a separate experiment in which now these are present. These guys are present. And so basically now the material has the healing capability, and I heal it with mechanisms that we will learn. And so now I do another fracture experiment on that. And this time, let's say I measure 0.8 megapascal square root meter. So therefore, in the healing efficiency will be 0.8 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0. This is the property of the healed material, damaged material, these two are the same, and the virgin material. The virgin material is the material that did not have the crack extended all the way, is the material that did not have the healing agents. Now, if I go to the previous slide, you might say this is an initial crack in the material. The initial crack is needed for me to measure fracture toughness. So when I talk about damage, it's actually the case where the crack has grown all the way from one end to the other. The material has split up. So this is one definition of the healing efficiency. We had another parameter here, which we defined as lambda, which was actually n of healed minus n of virgin divided by n of virgin. So now, the experiment this refers to is called a fatigue experiment. Those of you who don't know the term, it's a very simple, well, not a simple, I shouldn't say simple, it's a very time-consuming experiment. So basically, so imagine we are applying a load like this on the material, and we're applying a force in this direction. However, the force we apply that I'm showing the force with F here. This force is some F0 sine omega t. So basically, the force is a cyclic load. And let's say the force is it's not much, but it's slightly lower than the strength of the material. For instance, if I need to apply 100 newtons to break the material, or let's say 200 megapascal of a stress to break the material, this F0 is 50 newtons, or it's 100 megapascal. It's less than the strength of the material. However, if I keep doing this loading, this cyclic loading, small cracks start to grow in the material. And these cracks grow over time, coalesce over time, and then eventually the material breaks. So now imagine I set this stress that I am applying at 100 megapascal, which is less than the strength of the material, which I call sigma 0 of 200 megapascal. And if there's no healing agent in the material, let's say the N of the heal, which is the same as N of the control, by the way, is 100,000. So basically, if there's no healing agent, when I am applying 100 megapascal of a stress, cyclic, so it goes from minus 100 megapascal to plus 100, minus to plus, minus to plus. After 100,000 cycles, the material fades. Now, if I now, right before it fails, if I heal it, let's say it now goes for an additional plus sign of 50,000. So basically the N healed is this guy, the 100,000, the control material went plus this guy. So in that case, and oops, in that case, N of heal is going to be 150,000. So then lambda becomes 150,000 minus 100,000 divided by 100,000, and it's going to be 50%. Okay. So this is how any of these, each of these parameters are defined. So if I now go back to my presentation, you have them here. And so now, by the way, these two parameters, this and this, apply to both types of healing, intrinsic and extrinsic healing. Now we're going to first deal with the intrinsic healing, which started at some publications, like one of the famous ones is this guy, 1981. Oops, 1981. I'm going to stop this video and then I'm going to start in the next